Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Episode 5 of the Unmasked podcast. Dude, we need a new intro. This is ridiculous. As always, I am one of your hosts, Spencer, alongside of Andy Driscoll.
What? What? I'm so confused. What's wrong with our intro? It's all good, bro. We are
We've
good.
only done 5 of them, and I was already tired of it.
You're already tired of it. It's like
Yeah,
we'll get something new,
that's all right. We'll figure
bro.
it out at some point.
Hey, we're here. It's episode 5, and knock on wood. I don't want to like jinx this, but it's like been like 2 episodes with no crazy like recording issues, sound issues. I probably shouldn't have said that because then I just jinxed us.
Yeah, we
But
are trying something new later in the episode today.
yeah, that is true. I probably shouldn't have said that then, but it seems like we're getting some things figured out, bro.
I
Like
think
this is
so.
good. This is
Yeah.
good. We're getting it figured out. So hopefully it's providing a great listening and viewing experience for you all. So, it's a great segue to go ahead and say, follow us on Instagram. Go ahead and get us
There you
a
go.
follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Go to YouTube, man. Hit a like, share,
Subscribe.
subscribe, bell
Hit
notifications,
that
all
little
those things that I
bell.
don't
Yep,
know what
there
I'm
you go.
talking about. All I know is I hear those in other videos I watch. So do that stuff, y'all. Come on, support us. Let's get this thing rolling.
It's been fun, man. This is I love that you and I've been consistent with this so far. They
Yeah,
say they say most podcasts, the average episode count for most podcasts is 8 episodes
and
before
that's
before they die, before they're like, nah, we don't have time for this anymore.
oh
So
shoot,
as long as we
we're
get
going
past
way
8 episodes,
we're going we're going way beyond that,
yeah,
way beyond that.
yeah.
I'm too invested. I mean, I
That's
bought a
right.
microphone. I bought a microphone.
That's right.
I mean, I have a whole setup now, so
That's right.
it's we're locked in. Like, here's the thing, man. I know people are going to be really surprised by this, but I do have an addictive personality. So when I jump into something, like I tend to jump in, like all the
All the
way
way.
in.
Let's
Like,
go.
I mean, it's like, hey, let's get one tattoo. Nope, let's cover the whole body. Let's just go. You know what I'm saying? This is why I've always stayed away. I've never done any type of recreational drug or anything like that because I
Yeah.
have an addictive personality. Would not
Yeah.
be good for me. So
Well, that's okay.
side note, and it's there's a lot of other reasons too, but I'm just saying that's that's kind of my personality. That's how I roll. So I know that's a surprise to most.
That's all right, dude. We love you.
So man, what's been good? How's things gone since our last episode?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, nothing
Yeah,
new. We actually we're recording this one early. So that's
we
nice.
are.
So we
We're
aren't
getting on
that
the game.
far removed from when we recorded the last one.
See,
So
this is part of being consistent, man. We're gonna
that's
jump on and
right.
get some stuff done. That way we don't wait till the last minute, which is weird for me. I'm a last minute kind of guy, but I
Well,
like
so am
this.
I.
I like this. I
Yeah,
like
me
this.
too. I was early
Plus
to a
next
meeting.
week,
I was early to a
go
meeting
ahead.
yesterday, and the dude
Early.
early to a meeting yesterday, and the dude couldn't, and he was the guy. I meet with him regularly, and he was also early because he always is, which makes me then when I'm late, really late. And he like started to tear up because I was there so early.
It's how much he means to you. You're like, you know what? I value you so much. I'm gonna be here early. Be prepared and ready.
Dude, I'm so
No,
late
that's
all the
awesome.
time.
Yeah, and another reason we gotta do this early too is because next week, um,
Oh yeah.
when this episode drops, we will actually be in Columbus, Ohio
Yeah,
for
together.
our district conference. So we will be recording. So
Live.
next
Yeah,
week's episode
we'll be
will be
together.
together. So the energy will be on point.
Not
It's
the
gonna
one.
be
Let's see.
fire.
Hang on a minute. Next week. Oh yeah, that's right. Because
Yeah, it'll be
if you're
next week.
listening to this episode, the next one, you and I will be together.
Yeah, yeah. When you listen to this
I confused
episode, we will
myself on that
probably be
one.
recording one together. It's gonna be great, man. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
So jumping in a little bit today, we got a few things on the agenda, but I saw something yesterday that I wanted to bring up in a kind of our intro time. We're going to get to our main conversation and topic for today, but before we jump into that, a couple episodes ago we talked about leadership, right? And
Yeah,
when
passing
when
the
the hand
passing the ball.
yeah,
Yeah,
when the handoff should happen.
yeah,
That the fact that in churches, but also our politicians,
yeah,
people, that are controlling or in charge of the world, or at least America, not the world, but that they're aging, man, that they're old, and we've got some very senior leadership. And I think it's really
Yeah.
interesting that Mitt Romney, who many of you know, he's the Republican senator in Utah, and um, he ran for president, I guess, back maybe against Trump. At some
Mm,
point he ran
yeah.
for president, but he came out yesterday and he said that he will not be running for reelection to the Senate, and is calling for a new generation of leaders.
Dude, do you think he
Then he
listened to
went
the
on.
podcast?
I mean, I think he did. I think
You think
we're creating change, like 100%. Like, he was like, I listened
what?
to the Unmasked podcast. These two like studs out of Louisville and Cincinnati, and man, they really pressed upon my heart that it's time for a leadership change. I mean, even he was like, I read the title. It was like time for a leadership handoff, and he's like, bro, this is wisdom. So, I mean,
Wow.
if it's
Let's
good enough
go,
for Mitt
dude.
Romney, it's good enough for you guys. So pass it on to a friend. Bless your circle of friends. But he said it's time for a new generation, man. And he said at the end of his if he went for another term, he said at the end of that term he would be in his mid 80s because he's currently 76. And he
Yeah.
said, frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders. They're the ones that need to make the decisions that will shape the world that they will be living in. So, man,
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up, man, because it's really cool to see that, in all seriousness, that some people are getting that and they
Yeah.
see that, and that is maybe humility. I don't know much about Mitt Romney. I know a little bit, but I know like that shows some humility, that shows the ability to let go, and how important it is for the next generation of leaders to rise up. Or it could just be that he's getting old and he's tired of dealing with it. Although he did say that like he's not getting out of the fight. He's still going to
Yeah.
continue to use his voice and
Right.
try to move the things that he believes forward. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool.
It is super cool. Yeah. And I hope, Mitt, if you're still listening, thank you for
Thank you,
tuning
man.
into the podcast. And we're glad that we could shed a little wisdom, and that you took it and ran with it. And hopefully now we'll start to continue to affect the culture of politics in America, and
The world.
that it's time, yeah, in the world, and that
Worldwide.
it's time for some of our old leaders to pass the ball.
To
So
jump on
thank you, Mitt,
to
for
jump onto the Unmasked podcast,
that's right.
changing the world.
And if you
Just
admit if
one listener at a time.
admit if you do want to actually give us a shout out at some point, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can be a sponsor.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't
This
know. I have to look
episode
a little
brought to you
more into.
by
I don't know. That might lose us some subscribers and watchers for real. So, well, anyways, we digress. So, but yeah, man, good stuff. So today, um, I wanna get into some conspiracy theories.
This is
You know,
dangerous, bro. This is
it is
dangerous.
very dangerous, man, but that's what we're about.
All right.
And I mean, in the world we live in today, you cannot jump onto social media, any news outlets, without seeing conspiracy theories,
Right.
or a conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theory, or
Right.
there's conspiracy theory that's being presented, but all that is a distraction to other things that are going on. And
Right.
so everyone has these wild opinions and thoughts on everything.
Right.
And it's no surprise or no secret that we have been in the news. It's been all over it about aliens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing. I'm
We're
not saying that it's
recording this.
real.
We're recording this on Thursday, September 14th at 11 a.m. Didn't NASA just host a press conference
Yeah,
about this?
I don't know if it's still going on, but NASA had some type of press conference where they were going to be talking about, I think, some new technologies that they have to monitor or potentially find extraterrestrials living among us, or
Yeah.
I don't know. There's all kinds of crazy things out there.
Scanners.
But what piqued my uh, interest or thought of having a conversation about this today was, I don't know if you saw, but I think it was on Tuesday of this week. So if you're listening, it'll been a week. since this happened, but in Mexico, there
Oh
was a
yeah.
journalist and researcher who presented in front of I think the Senate there in Mexico. He brought in these two boxes that had these little, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but these little bitty like mummified looking aliens.
Yeah.
And he presented them to them. And he said that they were recovered in Peru in like 2017, and said that the carbon 14 dating carried out by a national University of Mexico like group had determined that the remains were anywhere from 700 to 1800 years old. And these little mummified beings it looks like, if you've seen the pictures, I mean, they straight up look like ET, like
Yeah.
the stereotypical, Hollywood film alien. They're really
Yeah.
small. They have kind of the big elongated skulls and heads, little bodies. They each have like 3 fingers. But I saw also that they did like some type of, I don't know if it was x-rays or whatever of the mummies, and they had like these weird like curved like ribs that went all the way around, and one of them had what looked like 3 eggs in it.
Hmm. Pregnant.
So yeah, I don't know, bro. So it's weird. They said that, that DNA evidence could prove that the specimens were not part of this planet, but it wasn't clear until they could carry out testings. There's already been several people that are debunking this and saying that
Right.
it's all fake. Apparently this journalist and researcher brought some stuff before Congress, not the Senate, yeah, the Mexican Congress or whatever, in years past, and that's been debunked. So he seems like he might be off his rocker. But man, I don't know, with everything that's coming out today, and all the UFOs, or what are they calling
Area
now, the
51.
UAPs or whatever.
What does that stand for? UAPs.
I thought originally it was unidentified aerial phenomenon,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
but
Is that not what it is?
I think there was another one that I've seen that says like unidentified. Um, oh, what was it? Shoot, I'd have to find it.
That's okay.
I don't know. Unidentified something phenomenon,
Yeah.
anomaly phenomenon, or something like that. I think. I don't know.
It's
All I know
yeah.
is it's buck wild. I think what's really funny is Christians' response to this. Some Christians are like,
What have you heard?
well, I mean, I've heard things like, well, just ignoring it altogether, just like it's another,
Right.
whatever. I've heard they're demons. I've heard they're angels. Go back to, what is it? Genesis 6 talks about,
Yeah.
angels and humans procreating, and the Nephilim, and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So it sparks all that type of conversation.
Right.
And I just think it's interesting, man. Like,
Yeah. I so when you look at like all of the conspiracy theories out there, and
there's a lot.
there's what, probably 10 to 20 like primary ones that have
That's
from
probably generous.
recent, and well, I just mean like
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's thousands of conspiracy theories, but there's sort of like you got JFK assassination, you
Right.
have whether or not the Holocaust was real or planned. You have
Well, we just
um
passed 9/11. There's all kinds of 9/11
9/11. Yeah.
conspiracies.
So there's lizard people, mole children. There's a lot of them, right? So but I will
Bold
say,
children.
have you heard that one?
I don't think I have, dude.
That one's nuts,
Well,
dude. That one's freaking
I have
wild.
to look at that one.
It's basically it's basically like I'd have to go back and actually I think I listened to another podcast on this once, or maybe read an article or something, but
Dude, there's a
people believe
podcast you
that
should
there are.
check out
Yeah,
just
go
for
ahead.
fun if you ever want to. It's called Blurry Creatures.
Okay.
And it's a couple, like, I think they're Christians, but this is the whole podcast. It's like they have a whole community. They do like Blurry Con. They do this conference every year too. Dude,
Wow.
it is absolutely wild. If I've got a long drive or whatever, and I've listened to all the normal podcasts I listen to, I got to turn on blurry creatures. So
So mole children,
it's
I think
interesting.
I will. I'll check that out. I think the mole children, it's like a group of people that live underground Manhattan, something like that. I can't remember.
Right. In
So
Manhattan.
in Manhattan, I think somewhere in New York.
Gotcha. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's probably true. So
Oh,
so back to aliens though. Like, I don't know. I see, here's the thing. I don't the way my mind works, is pretty simplistic. Like
yeah.
like even as a Christian, as a pastor, like even some of the super deep biblical theology stuff, um, I it doesn't affect my faith whether or not I have an answer to those things, because
Yeah.
I just know, like, I just God's gonna reveal them one day when we're all together, and that's all I care about. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I believe the primary stuff. I have opinions on a lot of secondary and tertiary stuff, but then there are still even more, you know,
Yeah.
crazy theology, biblical theology stuff. So I come from a pretty simplistic mindset, but when it comes to aliens, it's like, I it could be, like, I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not
It
I'm
wouldn't rock your world, rock your faith,
if
rock.
no, it wouldn't rock my faith at all, because that's the other thing too, is like, again, as a Christian, God, we know that according to scripture, like, God created humanity, you and I, human beings on earth, like, for a specific purpose, because of his love for us. And if it, like, but there's a whole universe out there that he also created,
Yeah.
that
Which isn't,
most
which
of
isn't
which
a,
has never been touched.
yep.
And and if, like, who knows, he could have put other beings on other in other
Yeah.
galaxies,
I
and
mean,
I don't know,
we
that doesn't
know that
affect me.
there's other galaxies and there's all this. I mean, when you start looking into space and really like researching into that and studying it, it is absolutely mind blowing. Like
Yeah.
I can't fathom it. I can't understand it when you start talking. Like there's another thing that I saw that happened recently that they discovered a new planet in a totally different
Right.
galaxy. I forget which one. It was the golden something or other. I can't. I'm trying to pull it up, but I can't find it. But it's called. They've named it K218b, and it's 18 or it's 8. I think it's like 8% larger than Earth. Or
Wow.
no, I'm sorry, 8 times larger than Earth. But when you look at it with the pictures that they have, it's blue. Like it looks like
It's
Earth,
got
and
water and
they're basically calling it like the water world. But it has like they've discovered in the atmosphere that there's like methane and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So there was some, I don't know, there was some other, I don't want to misspeak and sound ignorant, but they found some other like small like amoeba life or whatever that we have on Earth that is from basically from the ocean that exists
yeah.
because of that. And that's a very like surface level ignorant probably way of explaining it. I don't know, I'm getting all that,
No, but
but they're looking into it like this this planet could have, I mean,
yeah.
similar atmosphere as Earth, which means there could be
Yeah.
similar life. And but
Yeah.
it's like 120 light years away.
Right.
So it's just wild. So
It is, dude. And I don't know. I just think, I mean, I think that, like, there's a bigger concern about the topic of conspiracy theories than just, diving into some of these things, like, aliens, and because it's
yeah,
like, I mean, that I feel like we kind of need to separate the potential for um extraterrestrial life, you know, from, like, some of these other, like the JFK assassination and some
right.
the other, like, because it's we just like there's no way for us to know
Yeah.
because it's so beyond.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well,
so the concern for me is like when you dive into some of these other ones, like the Holocaust, for example, and people thinking that like there are literally people that think the Holocaust was planned for notoriety and monetary gain for the Jewish people. That makes and so for me, like that mindset,
yeah.
like that the mindset is for me is like how I don't know, dude. How do you get there?
Well, those are, I think those are the ones that are most concerning, I think, to me. And so aliens, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you talk about aliens, man, look at the ocean, bro.
Right.
Some of the creatures in the ocean that we know about that we've seen, straight up aliens.
Those things in the box that that dude brought before,
Aliens.
they could have came out of the ocean. We don't know.
I mean, facts. I mean, it's just wild. Like to think now, I think it goes into like intelligent versus
Right. That's
non-intelligent,
true. Yeah, that's true.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But outside of that, when you start getting into some other conspiracy theories like that one that you just talked about, honestly, I don't know that I've ever heard that one. That's wild. But even
Let me see
like
if I can pull it up. Go
the
ahead.
9/11 conspiracies, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, I don't, I think most people, I don't want to say that, but I know, I'll just speak for myself. I know I've gone down that rabbit hole of watching conspiracy videos on 9/11 and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And at the end of the day, for me, that would be the most concerning, because if that was something that was done by us,
Right.
US government or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
that's more concerning to me, because then that means like super distrust
Yeah.
and disregard of human life
Yeah.
for you know
Well,
for
you
some type of other type of gain, or for war, or for whatever the reason is, like to stage and orchestrate that intentionally to trick us, to get us to do certain things, or to strike fear in us, or so that we can go to war with another country, whatever it is, to do something that egregious is disgusting and terrifying to me.
well, you brought up earlier, I agree, and you brought up earlier the idea of distraction. And it's I guess why I brought up the concern factor of all of this is like
This is getting deep, bro.
it is the idea of alien life form is so big and so beyond, but it's intriguing
Sure.
to most people that it doesn't it wouldn't surprise me if, because I know how broken, messed up, gross, horrific humanity can be. We've proven that over and over and over again, as you were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if uh, people we'll just say the government. We're creating our own conspiracy theory right here, by the way. If the government used ideas like aliens to just distract like the population
Right.
from what they're actually doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what's concerning. It's like we have our minds are focused on all these other crazy things, but ultimately like humanity, like we're our own worst enemy. And we've proven that again, we've proven it over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like we don't need to be concerned. I would say our primary concern should not be the infiltration of alien life forms. It should be like our own selves.
Our own people.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, because power and control is a heck of a thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in smaller forms, I'd say within churches.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to always go back to that, but that's the environment and what we do. But I mean, we've all seen predatory pastors that use their platform and use their influence to do heinous
Right.
things, you know,
Right.
to hurt people for their own selfish gain. And we see it honestly over and over and over again. So if we see that at that level, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think on a
Yeah.
more macro level that the governments would do that and stuff like that. So, but that's where you kind of have to have use some good critical thinking skills, and
Right.
but I think one of the toughest parts is again with news today, with social media, with the internet. I mean, it's so hard to narrow down what is really true,
Right.
because there are 50 billion conspiracies and reasons of each thing that happens. If something pops off in the news, there's going to be there's going to be hundreds of different angles that people approach it, of why this happened or what's
Right.
really going on, or it just
Right.
it's honestly out of control,
Yeah.
which then creates, I think, a culture that just says screw it, like I don't
Right.
know,
Right.
I'm not going to know, so let's just keep it moving, which
Yeah.
also isn't good, because there's things that need to be defined, identified. There's problems that need to be rectified and solutions that need to come forward. But a lot of times it doesn't happen because it's so convoluted and messy, because there's so many different angles of what's going on and what's reality and what's really happening. And
Right.
it makes it super difficult.
Right.
And I think people, I would say like us, because you said this, and I come from a very similar vein. It's, takes a very simplistic view of things. It's just like,
Yeah.
we're not created, I don't believe, to take on the weight and carry the weight of the world's problems all day,
Right.
every day. And I
Right.
think that's one of the greatest stressors that we have today, is that news is at the tip of our fingers and our phones all the time,
Right. Right.
which then puts us on edge, which allows us to live in fear, and we're jumping from one crisis and catastrophe to the other. To
Yeah.
where, when I was younger growing up, if there was I hate to talk about it, but some act of violence somewhere, a shooting at a concert or a school or whatever, you might hear about it, in your local news, at some point.
Right. Right.
But I mean, people are live streaming them. Like, you jump on
Absolutely.
Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and you are there.
Right.
And it's traumatizing. Like, I don't think our brains are intended to comprehend that much
Right.
trauma and that much heartache
Right.
constantly.
Right.
And so people just have to turn off to it.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Here, I
what
found this real.
yeah, go ahead. This is the mole people.
No, this is the
Oh,
Holocaust. So just because you said you hadn't heard about it before,
yeah,
this one's always been fascinating. Not fascinating in that I don't know where I fall.
sure.
Fascinating in that people think this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so between 41 and 45, 1941, 6 million Jews were killed across Europe. Horrific genocide led by Hitler. Poor education on the subject may be one explanation for this, but some conspiracy theorists push the anti-Semitic notion that the Holocaust was invented or exaggerated to garner sympathy and monetary gains for the Jewish people while serving and advancing Jewish interests. Isn't
Six
that
million
crazy?
people. 6 million people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and that was for their gain.
So the Jews are going to
Ugh,
sacrifice 6 million people for their own gain, right? No, I don't believe that.
insane.
But I think, but before we move on to the end, to the next part, I think a conclusion to this, like we could talk about this forever because there's, like you said, thousands of these.
Right.
But I love that. I mean, this whoever wrote this article, or education on the subject, maybe one explanation for this. But and for me, that's like we just got to be careful. Like I would just,
Yeah.
I would, for those of you listening, like my simplistic mindset on these things, I believe has been a benefit to me because like if I don't like I don't get caught up in conspiracy theories often.
Yeah.
Um and I just take the opportunity to like just do your homework. I guess that's all I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're getting caught up on something that may or may not be and you have that own mental wrestle, like just do your homework and like talk to people that
Yeah.
you trust that may fall on on an opposing side, and
Right.
just don't get
Well,
caught up in it.
yeah. And the other thing too, for maybe some of the more mature generation, the older generation, understand an algorithm.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, if you watch one video on TikTok or Instagram Reel or whatever, and you watch the whole thing on some type of conspiracy theory, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get fed another,
Yeah.
and you're going to get fed another, and you're going
Yep.
to get fed another. And then the next thing you know, that's all you're seeing on your feed because of the algorithm, not
Yeah. That's a
because
good
that's truth,
dude.
but it because it's the out. I had to have this conversation with my dad.
I had this conversation, and it might have been the same type of conversation, but I had this conversation with an older lady just a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, I keep seeing all of this stuff on. I forget what the context of it was, but I keep seeing like every day. I keep getting fed these same videos over and over again, and I feel like it's God trying to give me a sign. And I was like, no, there are people that have created an algorithm that are making money on the fact that you watch the same content over and over and over and over and
Yep.
over again, and it's planned. Like this is
Yeah.
done by humanity. This was not
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
not God.
Yeah. No, yeah. I
This,
had that. That's hilarious that it's like, I mean, what a
Zuckerberg
church
knew what he was
person
doing, and
way to
has
say, I
been
think God's
sending.
trying to tell me something.
No, Mark's trying to
Like,
say something.
yes, he is. Yes, there's a lot of very intelligent, smart engineers
Yeah.
that have created a system that is going to feed you what you're watching
Yep.
and more of it. And that's what, it's the conversation I had with my dad. It was like, he was like, man, I've so many videos on this and this and this. I think it was during COVID. So it probably had to do something with COVID or a vaccine or something like that. I don't even remember. But I'm just like, Dad, like, get off of TikTok,
Yeah.
get off of it, because you have created an algorithm and it's going to go more extreme and more extreme and more extreme, and it's going to keep
Yep.
feeding you that because that's what you watched. And
Well,
so
and the same thing with
you're not seeing the other side of it
yeah.
because you haven't, when you saw that video you immediately scrolled past it, but because you saw it and like, ah, and went on. But when you watch it for 10 seconds or the whole video, it's going to give you another one.
Same thing for me with like news stations and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
if you only subscribe to Fox or you only subscribe
Yep.
to CNN, you're getting
Yep.
fed like they're feeding you what they
Their viewpoint.
want to hear.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I've always said, like for people that talk about, oh, I only watch Fox. I was like, please try and watch some CNN every once in a while,
Expand it. Yeah.
because
Well,
the truth is in the middle. It's not the
right.
what you're being fed very specific viewpoints because they know that that's what you want to hear, and
Yeah,
CNN is doing the same thing. And there's
for sure.
all of the other ones, they have their own, but it's like you got to be more well rounded than that. You have to,
Yeah.
because
You
the
have to
truth is
know
somewhere in the middle.
you have to know the other side of an argument in order to make an educated, come to an educated
Yes,
answer
yes,
for yourself. And it's part of doing your homework, doing your due diligence. It's, and you see this a lot in the church with believers. They're so afraid to know a potential other side of things, or well, I believe this. Well, there's a whole nother group of Christians
yeah,
that would interpret this scripture differently.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I just don't want to, I don't believe that. Well, then what are they saying? Well, I don't know because I don't even want to listen to it. It's like, well, you need to understand and hear what they're saying
Right.
so that you can then spend time in prayer, take it to Jesus, and work through that. But if you just
Yeah.
stay ignorant to another other side of a conversation, then I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but you're remaining ignorant because you
Right.
only are looking at one side. There's a Christian hip hop artist. I don't know if he still dubs himself as a Christian hip hop artist. Have you heard of Propaganda?
Yeah. He
He
used
did
to
like
do a lot of
spoken
like spoken
word.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Hmm.
sick. But he has a podcast. I don't know if he still does it. It was called Hood Politics. Amazing. Like I loved it. He took like what was going on, current events and politics, and he would explain it from from a street kind of
Wow.
I will say hood because it's called hood politics, but more of like you know tying government to gang life and
Right.
way saying that they're pretty much the same thing, that like politicians are just gangsters in suits. And but one of the things that he said is like that's why he goes and looks at the news from like gets on like BBC and looks at
Yeah.
world news stuff about what's going on in America, because you'll see a different,
Yeah.
maybe more unbiased, although it's biased from another country, but like you'll see a different perspective of what it is. So even expanding out of, US news
Wow.
sources
That's
to
good.
outside of that to get a good, well-rounded understanding.
It's good.
So before we end this segment, I feel like I have to ask, what is a conspiracy that that causes you pause, or that you say maybe you don't fully like ascribe to or believe, but you're like, I could maybe see this being real.
Um,
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I don't
I'm
know,
kind of
dude. Yeah,
interested.
you are putting me on the spot. I don't know. That's hard. Because again, I mean, I guess probably, uh, I would be open to and not surprised if there were aliens. That
Okay.
probably would not surprise me. Um, Again, it would not, even as a Christian, that wouldn't rock my faith at all. It would be wild, like if
What
that was
about
really confirmed, but I don't know.
what about what about Bigfoot?
Oh gosh. Have you seen those pictures recently of, oh man, I would have to find this. Um, I've seen them like all over. Dude, the algorithm's been feeding me these pictures of this just giant dude who, it's like old pictures that are probably faked. Um,
Sure.
and it looks like Bigfoot. I
Photoshop is
don't
amazing.
I don't know, man.
AI is making this even wilder too.
Dude, what do you think about, have you seen the AI recently of like athletes that speak a different language, and in real time AI is translating
I'm not
the
seeing that.
the athletes like press conferences and stuff, and it's like moving their mouths like like he's speaking in
Yeah.
Spanish, but it's moving their mouths as if they're speaking in English, and it's actually like translating in real time in a different language.
No, I haven't seen that. That's
it's
wild. That's
it's
going to be
nuts.
that should be an episode coming up soon. And we just talk
AI.
about AI and all the pros and cons and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I
Wow.
haven't seen that. That's awesome. What about, I'm gonna ask one more.
Yeah.
So since you kind of passed on Bigfoot and we're just like, I don't know. I'm the same way. Like I could see
I,
Bigfoot being a real thing.
yeah, I
I've
just,
I've watched that, as a kid too, man, bro. Harry and the Hendersons. You ever seen that movie?
yep.
Goat.
Yep.
Classic. Um,
Oh, I have one. I do have one.
okay.
Wait, no, you go first, and then I'll tell you one that I'm like, okay.
So okay, I'll tell you the one, and this might make people think I'm wild. Maybe not, but I have serious questions. I don't even want to say I believe it, but I have a lot of questions about the moon landing.
Really?
I do.
That's not where I thought you were going.
I have a lot of questions about the moon landing. I'm not saying we didn't,
Yeah,
but
I love that
but
New
it's
Girl episode where Nick. Do you watch New Girl?
I
Where
love
Nick,
it, dude.
where Nick goes, uh, dude, what is it? Something about the shadows. The shadows are off. The shadows are off.
Yeah, with the flag.
With the flag. Yeah.
Shout out to New Girl. That's a great show.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. Like, it's just hard for me to believe that we did that yet. But when was that? That shows my ignorance. I mean, this was what, 40 years ago, 30 years ago,
Something like
maybe
that.
more than that.
Yeah, I think it was more than that.
You can look it up, but just that we were able to get to the moon, get out on it, and get back way back then. But yet today, like, it seems like we can't do much of anything.
Right.
Now I'm not getting to. There's all kinds of conspiracy of whether or not, like, all the pictures from. I don't know if you've seen these, but all the pictures from the International Space Station or the spacewalks that they do and stuff like that, that they're all faked, and like you can see like wires like that are edited out, like, or
Right.
people like vanishing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know about all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, man. It just seems weird to me.
1969.
1969, we went to the moon.
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first
And why
humans to
haven't
land on the surface of the moon.
Yeah. And why haven't we been back? Why hasn't anyone been back? Why can't we do that? That seems like if we could have done that in 1969, that would be worth exploring and doing more of. Again, maybe it's my ignorance. I don't know. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not like firm on that.
Yeah.
But it makes me think. It makes me wonder.
Makes me wonder.
That's right.
Where doesn't Neil Armstrong? He lives in Cincinnati, doesn't? Or he died. He lived in Cincinnati. Yeah, he lived here. I saw him at he died in 2012, but he lived in Madeira, which is
Okay.
a suburb here in Cincy. And I saw him one time at a Kroger grocery store.
Did you give him a fist bump?
I had to make sure that it was it was the right guy,
or a
but it was.
salute?
No, I didn't. Yep. Anyway. Okay, so
give him live long and
I can't even
prosper.
do that, bro. I can't do it.
I know. I had to, like, is it though? I don't know.
So
What were you gonna? All right. So what were you gonna say? I'm curious now.
the one that actually does give me that I question is whether Princess Diana's death was an accident or not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. We don't got to go into it, but that's the one. I don't know.
Yeah,
Man.
I can see that.
No.
So there's a lot of those too. I mean, there's a lot of strange celebrity deaths, or
Right.
Things. And there's a ton of conspiracy theories about people coming forward and giving up evidence, and then
Right.
about something, and the next thing you know, they're dead or they're gone or whatever.
Exactly.
So anyways, so hey, if you all are listening or watching, I'd love to know what conspiracy theory that you ascribe to, or that causes, like me, like, it just makes you think, gives you pause. Drop those in the comments. Let us know. Or if you want us to talk about one in a later episode, and have an unmasked reaction to that, we can do that. Would love to see those things. So drop that in the comments. Hit us up with that.
That'll work. All right.
That'll work. All right. So
Unmasked
let's
reaction.
move on to
You got to do your
unmasked reaction of the week. We got to have something. We got to have some type of segue. Well, you're the music recording genius. We need to figure out something.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to. I'm glad you just brought that up, because our intro and outro music, which I got to figure out how I keep changing it up. Like, the music's the same. It's the same song, but I keep like
different parts of the song.
Different parts of the song. I got to try and figure out. It's getting annoying to me. But shout out to Josh Walker, aka Jericho. He is yeah. So that's a song that he and I did. We just released it earlier this summer. So it's called
Whisper. Go check it out.
It's
a vibe. Yeah, I like it. Where are we at with our song?
The lyrics are done. The lyrics and the melodies written, chord progression's done. But yeah, I'm just gonna get my crew in here and finish it up.
Yeah. We wrote a song in Spokane, Washington, while we were at a conference, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
We'll see what happens, man. I'm hoping that it Billboard #1.
Billboard #1. We're taking over. Mitt Romney will be all over it. I believe it.
I think so too.
All right, unmasked reaction of the week. So I sent you a video.
Did you send it to
Oh,
me?
I didn't send it to you.
Here you
I
go.
wanted it to be a true unmasked reaction. So let me send it to you now. But while I'm sending this out, hopefully I can find it. Um, we're going to try to do a screen share so that you all can actually see it and hear it in real time while Spencer's watching it. So this is something new we're going to try. If it doesn't work, we'll figure out something else out. But we thought this might be a cool way to. There we go. I sent it. There we go. Let me see if I can send this to you real quick. Yeah.
All right.
So I just send it to you. So we figured this way because we've been playing it, over the speaker, but you can't see it. So we're trying to figure out ways that we can do this. And just to be real honest and transparent, we're trying to figure out a way to do it where we don't have to do a ton of post production because we'd love to do that. We'd love to make this thing look even better than it does. Maybe we'll get there one day, but right now we're trying to keep things simple. And so, but yeah, so I know you're going to be real surprised by the video, but it is another pastor going off the rails a little bit. And I don't know, you may have seen this because this has been out for a little while, but the title of it is Pastor Goes Off on Members of the Church.
All
and
right.
dude, this is classic. This is wild.
All right.
So
Hopefully you can hear this. I think I'm gonna do this right. Let's find out. Here we go. I mean, I gotta share it first. All right, here we go. Just thinking about it. All right, here it is. I'm at. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Oh, we got an echo.
I'm important. I'm somebody.
Go
You
back.
might do your English teacher that way, but I'm not teaching English. I'm teaching eternal. Go to sleep while I'm talking. Hey, hey, hey! Don't you lay your head back. I'm important. I'm somebody. Now you might do your English teacher that way, but I'm not teaching English. I'm teaching eternal life here. I love you. You know I love you. Have I convinced you I love you? Yeah. You better nod your head. Yes. All right. Come on. Put it up there.
Oh my gosh.
Stay awake and you listen to me.
Oh, wait.
You say, well, he may never come back. Well, he ain't here now. And where have you been, Mr. Underwood? And I noticed on the calendar I'm supposed to marry y'all. What makes you think I'd marry you? You're one of the sorriest church members I have. You're not worth 15 cents.
Oh my gosh.
And you want me to marry you to her? And you want to marry him? And he don't even know where he belongs? And you don't even know where you belong? Now, let me tell y'all, everybody here, how much I love these kids. Do you know I love you, sir? Stand up, big boy. Do you know I love you? All right. All right. Give me a little love. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, dude. I don't even know how to respond to
I'm the
this.
real deal. Yeah. All right. I know you are too. But you go to sleep while I'm talking. Hey,
Dude,
hey,
what?
Hey, don't you lay your head.
Are you kidding me?
Right?
Could you hear that?
Yeah, I could. I tried not to talk because there was an echo, so I think mine was coming through just the setting we had to use. So yeah, dude. I mean, homie gets out there and just starts putting people on blast, like mid sermon. Comes out because the dude, I guess, is dozing off, and he just goes off the rails. But he's like, "Bro, I'm important." Like what? And then goes down there and just starts cutting people down, man. Like the king of gaslighting out there. Like, I love you, as I just called you out and called you a bum in front of the whole congregation.
You don't love him. There's no, dude. I don't know how to respond to that. Like,
Have you never seen that one?
no.
That was wild. Dude,
I feel like I'm hot inside. I feel angry.
Dude, how would you like? I don't know, bro. How would you respond if you were that person that he was coming after?
Wow. I would like to believe, especially after the fact that like he said, I'm the real deal. what did he say? Like at the beginning, he said like
Oh, he said, I'm important.
I'm important.
He was the dude's like, don't you fall asleep on me, like while he's preaching. Because like if you looked at the bottom, like the scripture, I guess that he was preaching on was at the bottom. So he's mid sermon, sees this dude, I guess his head, because he said, don't you lay your head back. I guess is doing the head nod thing. And he's like, don't you fall asleep on me. I'm important.
Dude.
Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like I would like to believe that I would have stood up, told him off, and walked out. That's what I would like to believe.
yeah.
Because uncalled for.
Yeah.
Totally uncalled for.
I mean, that is everything that I hate about the church. People hate about the church. That dude thinks he is a rock star, that he is. I mean, he even said it. I'm important. I'm like, bro, you are no more important than anyone that's sitting in there. You have a different role in the body, and you're doing it poorly because you just went out and put people on blast because the dude was dozing off. You don't know. Maybe he worked third shift and he drug his butt into church because it was important to him, and he was fighting to stay awake. Man,
exactly.
Like you are not important.
No, absolutely.
You are not that important.
He goes, I love you. You're not worth 15 cents, but I love you. No, you don't.
And then he's like, and I love you, right? Like, no. What was the dude gonna say? No, you don't. You didn't show whatsoever that you loved him. You showed that you're an arrogant person.
Say it.
and that you think you're better than everybody else. And that, I mean, it's like, dude, you are not God.
No.
You are not.
No.
You are not. I mean, I don't know. Like, you are not the all-inspired voice of God.
No.
You are a messenger. You are a vessel, just like that person, those two people, three people that you ripped.
Yeah.
And then just like, it's so random too, because again, it goes back to like pastors like going off on something else, and then they just start riffing off. And he went down there to call out the dude that was dozing off, and then his eye caught another couple. And I don't know if they said something or made a look or looked at each other that made him come after them. Then he just goes after them. Yeah. And they weren't even a part of the reason why he originally stopped and went down there. Like, and then gets and makes him stand up and hugs him. And then if you watch it, like when he shakes his hand after he hugs him, he sizes him up, dude. He's like, he is trying to trying to intimidate them. And it's like, that's that emotional manipulation.
Absolutely.
That is toxic.
Yep. Narcissistic. Dude, it's crazy. It's uncalled for. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Crazy.
Probably not the response you were hoping I would have, but
no, I mean,
that like angered me.
Yeah.
I was trying to almost like I wanted to sort of laugh through it, but I was getting angry.
Yeah.
And angrier.
I can't imagine, dude. I mean, I've been a lead pastor for I think like 8.5 years. So I've preached a lot of sermons every Sunday, pretty much every Sunday, preaching. And I've had people asleep. I've had people on their phones. I've had people checked out. Not once ever did it cross my mind to call somebody out. Like that is absolutely insane. We had a guy, this is totally off on topic, but off topic. We had a guy, one of the like greatest servants in our church, serves every week. He's on our board, amazing leader. Like if he wasn't a part of our church, I don't know where our church would be.
Yeah.
And he has sleep apnea like nobody's business. And every Sunday when I get up to preach, he would fall asleep back there in the back with the tech team. He'd be gone as soon as I started preaching. And if he was awake, I felt like I was doing something wrong. Like, like if he's awake, I was paranoid. I'm like, oh, I must be off the rails or something's wrong because he's awake.
Right.
Then he got a sleep apnea machine, and I've never, in the past 5 years, I've never seen him fall asleep. But yeah, like, but I mean, to call somebody out like that is just insane.
Not to mention the real deal important pastor of the year had like 15 people in his church.
Right. I'm a big deal. Like,
Oh, big
dude,
deal. Nobody, no.
it'd been awesome if that big old boy would have just broke him in half.
Gosh, man. Yeah, I don't promote violence, but sometimes there are just people that need to be smacked in the mouth.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. I mean, and dude, if that couple didn't leave that church
Bro, oh my
and
gosh,
let
you better.
him marry them, I'd been like, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have got up, said yeah, hugged him, done all those things just because like not wanting to create more drama or chaos, you
And then I
know.
never came back.
But dude, I would have been gone.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't care how long I'd have been at that church, how much that pastor may have impacted my life, dude. You're not gonna treat
Nope.
me that way. I don't. Nobody deserves to be treated that way.
Nope.
And if there was a visitor there or somebody that had been wrestling with faith and belief, and maybe that was their first week that said, you know what, I'm gonna go give this guy thing a try. I'm gonna go check this thing out and see what it's about. I've heard about this church, or this church is in my neighborhood. Let me just pop in on a Sunday. And that happened, dude, that person's gone.
Done.
And at least for that time period.
Absolutely.
And dude, it's if we believe what we say we believe, well, that's too important.
Dude, the lack of humility in pastors is often astonishing to me.
Yeah.
It's just like the fact that like I mean even the disciples that walked with Jesus in person for 3 years, 3.5 years, who he then commissioned to go preach and spread the gospel, were all martyrs, were like Peter couldn't who was way more important than this guy, couldn't even be killed the same way as Jesus. So he made them crucify him upside down.
Right. Because he said he wasn't worthy.
And this dude, yeah, because he said he wasn't worthy. And this dude probably already has planned, if he's not already dead, just extravagant funeral service, and he is expecting the whole world to show up.
Yep.
It's like, no, that's not. As carriers of the gospel, that guy's in the wrong.
Yeah, we're called to serve, not to be put on a pedestal, not to think that we are more important than anyone else.
And of course,
And
he said, I'm preaching. What did he say? I'm preaching on eternal life or whatever. I'm sharing it. I forget what he said, but sure, you are. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
You are reading from and trying to teach and explain the greatest story on earth. Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does not make you important.
Right. What your message
It's not
is
about
of
you.
the utmost importance.
It's not about you. It's about
are not.
That's right.
You are a tool that, well, he's a tool in more ways than one, but we are God's tool and again, vessel that he chose to carry out his mission and to take the gospel message to the ends of the earth.
Yep.
And if you as a pastor or a believer take pride in that, like, man, I'm something special because God chose me, then you don't understand the gospel.
I think
you don't understand the fact that you are not nowhere even close worthy to be doing what you do, man. I feel that, and I'm not like patting myself on the back, dude, but I feel that every freaking week. Like, dude, who am I to be sitting up in front of a congregation preaching and teaching the gospel about Jesus? Dude, I am. There's no way
I question
other
that
than
too.
the grace of God and his calling in my life and the gifting that he's given me that I should be doing that, because I'm not it.
Yeah.
That's him. That's his gift. That's his grace. That's his mercy that he doesn't give me what I deserve and put me in the place where I honestly probably belong.
Yeah.
And I feel that every week. And I know that. And
I
and
think
this dude needs to be humbled, bro.
yeah, dude. I think a lot of pastors, they take that whole idea that we are held, that pastors, that carriers of the gospel are held to a higher standard. That's biblical, and I believe it's
Sure.
true. But that higher standard is not pride and arrogance and
Yes.
excellence and perfection. That higher standard is a humbled recognition that you are carrying the greatest story ever told, and carrying the message of the one person that can change the life of anybody and everybody.
Yep.
And it's, dude, just I don't know, man. I'm still like mine literally am physically hot right now inside. That's how heated that made me. That's how, oh my gosh.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, I think that's a good word. That's a great way to wrap this episode up and close us out. You can go like take some breaths, meditate, chill out a little
Any of
bit
you
before you
fell
move on with your
asleep,
day.
any of you fell asleep listening to this podcast, never come back.
Ne-
We don't we don't care
Hey,
about you.
we're important.
We're important. Andy and I are two of the most important people on this planet. And if you got even the slightest bit distracted while listening to this
How
podcast,
dare you?
you're
How
only
dare
worth,
you?
you're worth less than 15 cents.
15 cents, bro. Not even that. A bum. No, bro. Everybody, we love you guys. We are just a
You
couple
dare
knuckleheads
ask us
on
to
here
marry
just trying to
you.
do our thing. Right. We're just a couple knuckleheads out here trying to have a good time and
Still going.
spark some thought, share our thoughts. So thank you guys so much for being here with us, hanging out with us. Man, we appreciate each and every one of you all that are listening. Continue to share it with other people, do all the things, man. We love this. This is such a good time, man. So
Fun.
Spencer, dude, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
See you
And
soon in a few days.
yeah, man, looking forward to hanging out here in a few days. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for being here. And we are going to jump out of here.
See y'all. Bye.
See ya.